Get ready to go from surviving to thriving with me, Clare Downham, where we explore the no tools, no techniques shift to overcome stress, silence self-doubt and create a life of calm, fulfillment and freedom. Let's dive in and begin your transformation. So today, how to stay grounded in the midst of chaos. Now, this applies any time of year, but I think as I'm making this video, we're cruising gently towards the end of the year. So we're in December, and of course, it's a funny old time, isn't it? It's just, it's next level crazy for many of us, I think, this time of year. And it can really get on top of us, I think, um, trying to make everything perfect, trying to make everything right, whatever the heck that means, of course. Who knows what right is, especially in terms of this time of year. I think everybody's got a very different version of what right is for them in terms of any kind of festive period, no matter what kind of festive periods you celebrate. They're all very different, but I think many of them bring these kind of fun times, shall we say, and perhaps we would call it chaos. Because yes, my life feels pretty chaotic at the moment, and that's what it's like, isn't it? When we talk about chaos, we're sort of saying things feel we feel like we can't cope. Everything feels unmanageable, and we feel very overwhelmed. Now, overwhelm is something that I talk about a lot, especially in the thriving woman approach. The second kind of thing we explore is around stress and overwhelm. So this is the first thing that I want to say today, um, that really, despite it feeling chaotic, despite you feeling overwhelmed, there's something about realizing that in this present moment right now, you have a lot less to do than your mind is telling you have to do. And in actual fact, as we sort of bounce from one thing to the next, reacting to the next thing, doing the next bit of firefighting, we're not really in a place of clarity. And when we do fall into that place of clarity, have you noticed how, well, it doesn't seem so bad, the amount we've got to do, and it doesn't seem so chaotic. And we know just to take the next step. And the thing is, the reason why that feels so settling is because all you really can do is take the next step. So your mind sort of works well in that environment, you know, because otherwise you can just feel disconnected, really scattered, and just like I say, just completely overwhelmed. Like, and I think that can cause the fight, flight, freeze, the stress response. They have fawn in there now as well, don't they? That's like people pleasing and trying to make sure we don't upset anybody. And maybe a lot of what goes on at this time of year, but maybe all the time, is a lot of that sort of trying to make sure everybody's okay all the time. And I think for us, high achieving women, that can be a huge part of what puts more on our plate. So with the thriving woman approach, what we're really looking at is starting to see that all of that, the chaos, the overwhelm, the feeling very stressed, the feeling very scattered, is not really, that's not really who you are. And that might be quite a hard pill to swallow, because you've maybe been feeling like this for a long time. It probably, you maybe can't even remember a time when you didn't feel like this. And when I think about my own life, I think, was there a time when I wasn't sort of striving to be somewhere else? And I suspect, and I often talk about the fact that when I was younger, I can remember being kind of 9 or 10 years old and being in competition with another girl for the academic top spot in class. And that girl, I remember her name even. That's how significant it was at that time in my life that I still remember her name. She still feels significant. That part of my life still feels significant. Sorry, I do have a little bit of a hair on my face I keep kind of fiddling with. So where was I going with that? Anybody want to help me out? That happens sometimes, doesn't it? And that can be that kind of chaotic feeling when you suddenly don't know what you're supposed to be doing. What I'm really saying here is the feeling of calm, the feeling of groundedness, the feeling of connectedness to sanity, I think, in a way, to knowing what the next step is there when we stop fighting everything, when we stop resisting what is. So yes, this time of year there's a lot going on. I've just noticed the last couple of weeks, it's just been social engagement after social engagement. Sounds really awful. And I didn't have to go to them all. I chose to go to them all, absolutely. But kind of noticing, feeling very busy. And I said to my fiance, this weekend I'm going to just drink loads of water, just eat loads of really healthy food, and kind of slow down a little bit. And we're not going out anywhere this weekend, apart from I'm going to an improv workshop tomorrow, but we're really not going to do very much because it's started to feel now. And that's one of the things to bear in mind. That is one of the reasons that our life feels chaotic. And I think this was definitely true for me, was the seeking of our well-being in the outside world, trying to get enough stuff in our life so that eventually we will feel fulfilled. And of course, that is unattainable. I mean, I'm saying, of course, I didn't know it was unattainable not so long since. I really did think that at some point I would do enough, have enough in my life, have enough of a career to suddenly feel like, like a heavenly light would come down on me, and suddenly I'd feel amazing, feel better, whatever. And it turned out that wasn't the truth. So that's one of the things to bear in mind. But really, the point today is: have you noticed how how much you fluctuate? I think it's a good way to kind of see the groundedness, and see that that's your natural state. Is that, don't you find that you go, especially this time of year, you go through these kind of phases where one minute you literally feel like you are losing the plot and tearing your hair out, and then the next minute you just sort of think, do you know what, it's going to be okay, I've got this, it'll be fine. And I go through this because I used to be one of those people who started the Christmas shopping in January. I mean, I used to be a real hoarder of things. Not a hoarder of things, but we used to have those book clubs that came into work, and I'd be buying things all through the year. And as time's gone on, mainly because I don't buy as many presents anymore, I tend to leave it till quite late on. So I get to sort of this stage, which is the first week in December, and I start, every so often it'll pop in, "Ooh, you've not really done very much about Christmas." And then it'll be like, "Oh yeah, but it always works. You always get it done. It's not a problem. You're going to be fine. It'll all get sorted out." And then I'll go back to and just starting to notice how the mind is kind of doing that storytelling all the time. It's always interpreting, it's always trying to work things out, it's always kind of storytelling. Starting to notice that is helpful, and to notice that we do flow between being caught up in the crazy and then feeling okay again, and then getting caught up in it again and coming back. And almost this something around not resisting any of that, like seeing that that's the natural state, and seeing that sometimes you are going to get quite wound up and overwhelmed, and especially at this time of year, but I suspect most times things come up all through the year. It's not just now, is it? That you will flow back and forth, and there's not really anything to do but to just notice that that's what's happening. and you will flow in and out of feeling chaotic, but almost to just not be fighting that, just to know that sometimes you are going to feel a little bit tense, sometimes you're going to feel a bit stressed, sometimes you're going to feel a bit overwhelmed, and then other times you won't even have any of that stuff you seem to have to do. I mean, I question whether we have to do it all. You'll find that it's not on your mind, and the feeling of calm, the essence of who you truly are, that groundedness is there all the time. When we stop fighting what is really, yeah. So that's my little pondering today: how to stay grounded in the midst of chaos. Christmas chaos. I love a bit of alliteration, so that's quite good. But I think watch this video at any time of the year when you feel like you're in the thick of something, whether it's to do with work or your personal life, whatever. It's all the same. Christmas has just seems to have an extra layer of crazy involved. Crazy Christmas chaos. We've gone to a 3-word alliteration. I feel I should stop now. That seems like a good time to stop, doesn't it? So take care, lovelies. I hope you found that even a little bit helpful. And I will see you again next time. Take care. Lots of love. Thank you for tuning in to explore your journey from surviving to thriving. For more insights and resources, please visit my website www.claredownham.com and explore the Thriving Woman Masterclass. Remember, thriving is within your reach. See you next time.